Hey y'all, and welcome to the Sarasota and Manatee County market update for January of 2025. My name is Rob Drum. I'm the broker owner at Blue Elephant Property Management, where we specialize in managing properties for residential investors here in Manatee and Sarasota County. I've been doing this market update for 7+ years in the Birmingham market where I was before, and this is my first go round doing it here in Florida. So I'm excited to share some unique stats and hopefully insights into our market. And this is a thing I do monthly. If you want to subscribe, my email is at the end of this presentation. I'll put a link in the description of this video. So Sarasota County for January, I always look at year over year numbers. So compare January of 25 to January of 24. And active listings are up significantly, almost 26%. Uh, it's just inventory continuing to pile onto the market. We did have sales that were up about 50 more sales than last year in January, up about 9%. So that's good for everyone who is involved in the real estate business. More sales is good. It's at least some good sign here. Average sold price is down 8.5%. And I really rely more on the median sold price. It's more of a true indicator of what's happening in the market. The average can get dragged around by, let's say, a couple $15 million sales would drastically change the average, but it is good for getting confirmation on what you see with the median sold price. So I still look at it. Average days to sell. We're up 24 days from 54 to 78. So really getting up there on how long it takes to sell a home that's listed. Median days to sell up 8. So kind of confirming the same story. This year in January, it took longer to sell a home than it did last year, unfortunately. Months of inventory, and this is just an indicator of how long it takes for with the current sales pace to churn through these active listings. We're at 9 months, up 2 months from last year. And that, if you look up that indicator, 9 months is clearly buyer's market territory. And so this is a great market for if you're looking to buy property, you're in the driver's seat. Manatee County really mirrors pretty closely on what was happening in Sarasota. Active listings up about 26%, sales a little bit higher than last year. Average sold price, median sold price down slightly year over year, and average days to sell up um, a little bit over the last year. And I will say all of this data excludes new home construction. The way that home builders report their sales and listings can really skew the data that's in MLS. And that's why I like to pull it directly, put it in this spreadsheet, exclude the new homes, and hopefully get the clearest picture of what's really happening in the market. So, speaking of new home sales, I did pull permit data for the Northport, Bradenton, Sarasota area. The MSA, they have all that data on FRED, which is the Fed's, St. Louis Fed's economic data resource. And looking at it by itself, it looks like a crazy chart. You can't really tell anything. But if you compare the just like on home data, home sales data, if you compare this year in January to last year in January, you can kind of get an idea of what home builders are doing in terms of starts and permits. And then to really smooth it out a little bit more, I took a 6 month average of the difference between last year and this year's home start. So what this is really telling you here is kind of the momentum of home builder starts. And you can see during COVID times, the year over year permitting was high consistently and getting higher. That momentum kind of slowed down as rates started going at the fastest rates raise cycle in history, where we went from like 3% to 6%. on mortgages within a couple months. That really slowed down the permitting activity. It bounced back a little bit, and you can see this kind of indicator over the last couple months is starting to drift lower. So we'll see where that goes. I think that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on. The home builders have the best data and research and great decision makers. Most of these permits come from the national home builders, and I think it's good to kind of follow along on what they're doing and thinking. 30-year mortgage rates, always good to keep an eye on. This month, not a lot of change. Within the month there was some change, but looking at it month over month, down 0.2%, 0.02%. Another thing that I have looked at, I used to be a trader, a prop trader, and the spread of the twos and tens yield curve can really tell you a lot about what the biggest investors in the world are looking at. They're all owning US treasuries, and the yield on these treasuries is representative of what they think is happening in the market. So as this number gets higher, as the 10 minus the 2 gets higher, the yield curve is steepening. And the idea is that that's indicative of large investors expecting growth in the longer term. They're more optimistic. And there's some weird things going on with tariffs and just international kind of reconfiguring of the treasuries. So I don't know exactly what that'll mean, but for example, the inversion of the tens and twos yield curve has historically always meant a recession is coming. We had a long inversion of this yield curve, and no recession has come yet. It came out of that inversion last year, and it's starting to steepen. Last month it went flattened a little bit, but we'll see. It's something that I like to keep an eye on, because if you see it significantly steeping, that's an idea that the biggest investors in the world are expecting good things. So this is my first stab at doing the Sarasota and Manatee County market update. I've had, when telling other investors that I'm doing this, I've had requests for more new home data. So if you have any sources of new home data around here, I'd love to get my hands on that. Rental data, obviously at Blue Elephant Property Management, we manage rentals for investors, and it's hard to get good rental data. You can find some data, but having enough of it and it being quality that I would want to use for decision making is hard. So if anyone has an idea on where to find rental data, that would be great. And if there's anything else that you would like me to keep track of and add to this update, I want to make it very high value for anyone who is interested in investing in our area. So please let me know what else would be good to see on here. You can email me at rob@blueelephantpm.com. And again, there's a sign up in the description of this video if you'd like to get this update in your email every month. And that's it for this month. Really appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you next month.